Hi, this is Donna with Cooking in Cabo. Join me today as we cook in my kitchen. We're in my kitchen today and we are making just some plain old-fashioned white bread. This recipe starts out with 2 cups of warm water, 1.5 tablespoons of yeast, 2/3 cup of sugar. Now this, we typically use white sugar. Here in Mexico, our sugar is not quite as refined as what you get in the United States, but this is our substitute for white sugar. 1.5 teaspoons of salt, 1/4 cup of oil. I'm using extra virgin olive oil today. 6 cups of bread flour, and then I have a little extra reserve flour just for kneading. You're also going to need a large bowl, some spray oil to prepare your pans, some plastic wrap, a clean kitchen towel, and since this recipe makes 2 loaves of bread, a couple of bread loaf pans. So let's get started. We start by putting the water, sugar, and yeast into the mixer. So water, 2 cups of warm water, 2/3 cup of sugar, and 1.5 tablespoons of yeast. And we are just going to give that a little stir. And we're going to let that sit for about 10 minutes to proof our yeast. And what you'll see when after about 10 minutes, the sugar or the warm water has activated the yeast, and you'll have a nice foamy layer of yeast on top of your water. It takes about 10 minutes. The bread is one of those things that takes some time, but most of the time is wait time. So you can proof your yeast, prepare your other ingredients, and then once you get everything in the pan, it's about an hour, hour and a half, depending on the temperature in your kitchen, for your bread dough to raise. So it's a good time to get some other things done, and then come back, punch it down, put it into the pans, and then it's about another hour of raising. So it takes several hours to make bread, but most of the time you're just waiting for the bread. So plan it for a day when you don't have a lot going on. So once our dough is prepared, we need to let it raise. And to do that, we're going to coat a big bowl with some olive oil and just coat it all around. On top of that, we're going to put some saran wrap just to kind of keep the extra heat in. I like to go ahead and lay it on top of the bowl now, kind of get it ready, and just go ahead and give it a good spray with some spray oil, just so that it doesn't stick. And then you can also go ahead and prepare your bread pans. And we wait. Okay, it's been about 10 minutes. It's rather warm in the kitchen today, and so the yeast is activated nicely. And we'll have a look at that and then go ahead and add our other ingredients. So you can see here that the yeast is nice and foamy in the bowl. And we will go ahead and add our remaining ingredients and get this bread going. All right, now that our yeast is ready, we're going to go ahead and add our other ingredients. We have a 1/4 cup of oil we're going to pour right into the blender. And also 1.5 teaspoons of salt right into the mixer as well. I like to go ahead at this point and put in about 1 cup of the flour. Right in there. And and go ahead and turn on the mixer and get it mixing. You want to mix on a low speed at first to keep your flour from coming back out of the mixing stand at you. So just start it out slow and then just continue to add flour until you have a nice bread dough. And what you want is a nice ball of dough that is not stuck to the sides of your mixing bowl. You want to knead that for about 5 to 7 minutes or so in your mixer, and it'll save you having to knead the dough by hand. During this time, your mixer might jump around the counter a bit, so it's a good idea to not leave it unattended, as I've come back and found it on the very edge of the counter, so you wouldn't want that to happen. So I stay nearby and keep a close eye on it while it's kneading. So you can see that the dough is not adherent to the side of the bowl. We got a nice ball of dough going there. It's nice and elastic. Okay, so after about 5 minutes of kneading, we've come to this rather elastic, nice dough. I'm going to go ahead and flour my work surface here just a tiny bit. A nice plastic scraper will help you get this dough out of the bowl if it's at all sticky, and sometimes it is a little sticky, and that's okay. So just go ahead and scrape it right out of there. It's fairly thick, heavy dough. Make sure we get all of this dough out of the pan or out of the bowl. There we go. Okay, I like to knead this just for a few minutes. You don't have to, but it is fairly sticky, and I like to just knead it just a little bit. I'm kind of weird like that, I guess. You don't have to knead it, but I like to just knead it for a minute or so just to get a feel for it. All right, once you've done that, you just form it into a nice ball. I normally just peel back the wrap that I have on this bowl. Remember that we have oiled the top and we've oiled the bowl, and you're just going to put your dough in there. Turn it once just to coat the entire ball of dough with oil. I then turn my saran wrap with the oiled side toward the bread dough. Cover it up nicely, and then just cover it with a clean dish towel just to keep a little of that heat in and keep that yeast working. And again, we wait about an hour, hour and a half, depending on the temperature in your kitchen. If it's very warm in your kitchen, your bread dough will rise much faster. If it's cooler, it'll take longer. It's better if it's not in a draft. So if it is cooler in your kitchen, you can just go ahead and sit it inside the oven with the oven off. And that will protect it from drafts and keep it a little bit warmer for you. Here in Mexico, a cold kitchen is never a problem. So this dough will rise fairly quickly, probably within an hour. Here's a quick tip about cleaning up after baking bread. Your mixing bowl will have some residual bread dough left in it, and it's quite sticky. If you've ever made paste as a child out of flour and water, you know that it's quite sticky, and this is mainly flour and water that we have here. So it can be quite a hassle to clean out of the bowl. If you live in the US and you have a dishwasher, you can just throw the whole mess in there, and that's fine. But here in Mexico, it's fairly uncommon to have an automatic dishwasher. Almost all dishes are washed by hand. So no matter where you live, unless you've built a custom home and requested to have a dishwasher, you will not find dishwashers, standard items in homes in Mexico. And so I like to use a sponge to wash my dishes, but if you use your sponge to wash this mixing bowl, you're going to have a bunch of gooey, slimy paste, basically, in your kitchen sponge, which can sit around and then breed bacteria for later. So the thing that I like to do is just use some really hot water, some dish soap, and a couple of paper towels that work nicely to get rid of this pasty mess and leave your kitchen sponge nice and fresh. So, all right, and there we go. Nice clean mixing bowl, paper towel, nice clean kitchen sponge. Okay, so our bread's been rising for about a little over an hour, and as you can see, it's nicely risen, more than double in size. We're going to take this, I preserve this for later use. We're going to just flour our surface a little bit here. And we're just going to go ahead and punch the air down right in the middle and go ahead and turn this bread right out onto this floured work surface. We're just going to knead it a tiny bit. And then we are going to take that plastic scraper we had earlier, and we're just going to cut this right in half, right in the middle, into 2 loaves. Okay, once you have it into 2 halves, you can just go ahead and form it with your hand into a loaf type of position there. Same with this one. Don't be afraid to pick it up and move it around. It's fairly forgiving. Just get it into a nice loaf and tuck it under. And then it's going to go right into these 2 previously sprayed pans. So we're just going to put them right in. Okay. If you leave them fairly close together, you can cover them back up with that same plastic wrap you had on the bowl. Just make sure you get the oiled side down. All right. And then go ahead and cover them up with your clean tea towel again and let them race for about half hour, 45 minutes until they're just over the pans. Okay, so it's pretty warm here in my kitchen, and we've had this bread raising for about 30 minutes, and as you can see, it's just slightly above the pans. It looks great. We're going to go ahead and pop this into the oven and bake it for 30 minutes at 350. So it's been 30 minutes, and we have 2 beautiful, delicious, hot loaves of bread from the oven. You can see there's amazing. Go ahead and just dump them right out of the pan. There you go. 2 fresh, hot loaves of bread. That's it for this episode of Cooking in Cabo. Please like us and share us with your friends on Facebook. Subscribe to our YouTube channel for more episodes like this. Rate us on TripAdvisor, follow us on Twitter, and please consider supporting us on Patreon. That's it for this episode. See you next time.